Ruud van Nistelrooy lands in Manchester and is set to sign his contract as the new Manchester United assistant manager. Bologna have been told that Joshua Zirkzee's release clause is set to be triggered, plus the latest on Manuel Ugarte, Sofian Amrabat and Matthijs de Ligt. These are some of the stories we will be discussing on this morning's show. But before we get into that, please do me one small favour. Let's try and see 500 likes on this morning's show. And if this is your first time watching, please do subscribe to the channel. I'm live every single day at 8:30, 1:30 and 6 p.m. UK time. So make sure you get involved for all of your latest Manchester United transfer news and talk. Okay then, let's start the show off by talking about Donny van Beek. We did a standalone video on this yesterday, but for all of those who missed it, I'll give you a bit of a rundown of where we are with our first player who is set to leave the club this summer. So this story broke from Fabrizio Romano and a couple of other places last night. It was kind of when all the football was going on, so I think quite a few people missed it. It was midway between the England match and the Turkey match. So a lot of people seem to have missed this story. But the headline is this, that apparently Manchester United have agreed a deal with Girona, which is obviously the La Liga club that is owned by Man City or the Man City group, for a permanent deal for Donny van Beek. The deal is worth €500,000 up front, which I know people are going to be like, what the hell? That's a disgrace. I know, people are upset about it. I get it. It's a very small amount of money. But there are apparently lots of add-ons in the deal, and the deal could go up to as high as £16 million. So I'll invite you to have your say on this. You know, what do you think about Donny van Beek leaving Manchester United? What do you think about the transfer fee? Let me know what your thoughts are. Like, I'll be completely honest. I feel bad for Donny van Beek. When he joined Manchester United, right? Let's go back 4 years. He was on a 30-man shortlist to win the Ballon d'Or. Let that sink in. He was on the shortlist for the Ballon d'Or. He comes to Manchester United and his career is completely ruined. I don't think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer ever wanted him. He never played him. And then he had some bad injuries and all the rest of it. So, yeah, I wish Donny van Beek all the best. And I know people are upset about the fee, but effectively, Girona are giving him a chance. And no one else was willing to do that. He's got 1 year left of his contract. The alternative was that we loaned him out. We'd probably have had to pay half of his wages, which is pointless. And then next summer, he would have gone for free. So I'm actually really happy with this deal. I think it makes a lot of sense. Donny van Beek is on big wages as well, which is another thing that we need to try and bring down this summer. We've got too many players at this club who are earning money and not doing anything. Martial was a prime example of that, 250k a week just to be injured all the time. And Donny van Beek, when was the last time you saw Van der Beek in a Man United shirt? Someone let me know. I honestly can't remember. Did he play last season at all? I don't think he did he? I can't remember the last time I seen Donny in a United shirt anyway. But each season he earns £6.5 million, Donny van Beek. So that's £6.5 million, which we can then use to do other things with. His salary alone will pretty much cover Amrabat's salary and Joshua Zirkzee's salary, which is crazy. We'll talk about both those players a little bit later on in the show. But I like to do these comparisons so people can see why Ineos are making these decisions. You know, people will say it's a bad deal. People will say we don't know how to sell players. I actually think this is a really clever deal. And the reason for that is because of the add-ons that are in the contract. Manchester United apparently have a massive sell-on clause in this Donny van Beek contract, which could be as high as 50% of any future sale. And there is also add-ons in there, which could see the deal go up to as much as 17 million. I'm being told that apparently there is achievable add-ons, which will take it to 5 million. So that will be how many times he plays this season, if he gets goals and stuff. But apparently they're very, very achievable add-ons, which we should then get the 16 million for. The 5 million, and it could go up to 16 million. So I'm happy for Donny. I want nothing more than for him to go to start his new career. Hopefully he goes there and does well. Because it's a complete sad state of affairs for the player, isn't it? You know, we've effectively completely ruined him. Somebody in the chat saying his last Man United game was in December 2021. I mean, that is crazy if that's true. What's that? Nearly 2.5 years ago. Absolutely crazy. That is so sad. But yeah, all the best to Donny van Beek. Apparently he'll sign his contract as a Girona player this coming week. Personal terms aren't supposed to be a problem. So yeah, I wish him all the best. We have got our first outgoing of the summer. Yes, it's not a massive amount of money, But when you look at it in the grand scheme of things, when you look at how much money we'll save in wages, I think it's quite a big deal, you know? £120,000 a week is a lot of money for us to save. So yeah, I'm happy about that. But obviously, let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Donny van de Beek to Girona is a deal which is about to be signed, €500,000 up front. But the deal could go to as high as £16 million, depending on add-on related bonuses. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. We've got over 400 people watching the show live today, which is absolutely incredible. I've set a likes target of 600 for today's show. So if everybody who's watching the show right now hits the like button, we will be more than halfway there to our likes target. And if this is your first time watching, please do subscribe to the channel. We're only one subscriber away from 26,400. So if this is your first time watching, please do subscribe. Only 50% of people who watch these videos are subscribed. It's completely free content. Your way of giving back is by liking and subscribing. Obviously, if you like the content, that is. If you don't, then feel free to watch it and don't do those things. But I would really appreciate it if you did. Okay, let's have a look at who's in the chat this morning. We've got Josh, we've got Amnat, we've got Malps, we've got Fred, we've got all the regulars. I hope everyone is doing good on this Sunday morning. Jihan says, I'm very happy that Donny van de Beek is going. I want him to go and get his career back on track. I am not concerned about the fee. Donny van de Beek was not wanted at the club. That manager destroyed him, obviously talking about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. He says, this is a very smart deal for everybody. I'm glad that you can see the positive in this, mate, because I agree with you. I know when you see the headline, €500,000, people are like, what the hell's going on? Ineos don't know what they're doing. They're as bad as the Glazers. But when you actually take a deep breath and look at it from a level-headed perspective, this deal makes a lot of sense for everybody. This is effectively somebody trying to reignite their career. They have no market value at all. They failed at Everton. They failed at Frankfurt. Do you know what's crazy, right? Frankfurt had an option to buy Donny van de Beek at the end of his loan spell for £6 million, and they said no. And that just sums it up. There is no market value for Donny van de Beek. Frankfurt didn't want him. Everton don't want him. We don't want him. So I wish him all the best. I want nothing more than Donny van de Beek to go to Girona and to reignite his career. And then maybe in the future, we get some of these add-on bonuses and it will help us financially too. But I asked, let me do a poll actually to see what people think about this. Let's do this. We'll do this. Are you happy with, I think it's £420,000, Donny van de Beek. So yeah, you can let me know in the comment section. Are you happy with £420,000 for the Donny van de Beek sale? If you're watching this back on repeat, you can get involved in if you're watching back on repeat, get involved in the comment section. If you're watching in live, you can get involved in the poll. Obviously, please consider all of the things I've said, the situation. He hasn't played a game for United since 2021, apparently someone said in the chat. So but yeah, let's move on from that though. Malks is asking for an update on Joao Neves. Yes, I will happily provide you an update on Joao Neves. So, for anybody who's been living under a rock, Manchester United have apparently submitted 2 bids for Benfica midfielder Joao Neves. The first bid was 59 million, which was rejected by Benfica. And at that same point, PSG also offered 59 million. So, there are 2 clubs effectively desperately trying to sign Joao Neves. You've got Manchester United and PSG. So the first bid was rejected, £59 million. Manchester United yesterday submitted a new bid of £65 million. This was according to various different Portuguese newspapers and outlets. Apparently Manchester United are wanting to go back in for a third and final bid. I'm not sure how much that's going to be. Benfica are still reportedly holding out for the £100 million release clause. Although, apparently Benfica do need to sell players this summer. That's what I've been hearing. So there is an understanding that Benfica will probably have to accept a little bit less than 100 million. They need to sell somebody. Will it be Joao Neves? They have got a couple of other people that they might look to sell, but Joao Neves is obviously the one who's the most high in demand. They've obviously got Antonio Silva, the centre back. He's another person who's attracting interest. But we'll wait and see what happens with this one. Obviously, if Manchester United were to sign Joao Neves, it would be a massive statement of intent. It would really show the fan base that they mean business, but not at £100 million. I'm sorry. £100 million for Joao Neves is absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. He's not worth that. Not a hope in hell. let me ask you this, all right? Let's have a little bit of fun on this Sunday morning. Let me ask you a question. So, if Joao Neves is worth 100 million to Benfica, right? How much is Kobbie Mainoo worth to Manchester United? He was probably England's best player on the pitch yesterday, for those of you who watched the England-Switzerland game, I would say. Kobbie Mainoo's looked better than Jude Bellingham in this Euros competition, without a shadow of a doubt. I don't know if you'd agree with me there. Jude Bellingham has looked average throughout the whole of this tournament. Kobbie Mainoo has been levels ahead of him. If Joao Neves is worth 100 million to Benfica, how much is Kobbie Mainoo worth to Manchester United? Let me know in the comments section. I mean, to even put Kobbie Mainoo as an £100 million player sounds ridiculous, but if we're comparing him with Joao Neves doesn't even start for Portugal. Crazy. I would probably say, I don't know, it's crazy. People are saying he's worth double. Somebody's saying he's worth 250 million. Yeah. Nathan says the 100 million release clause is insane. They won't get that. Let me just have a sip of my water. Yeah, sorry everyone. Got a bit of a tickly throat this morning. Also, people saying he must be worth about 300 million. Yeah, I mean it's crazy, isn't it? So just to round up, Manchester United aren't going to pay 100 million. That's absolutely ridiculous. I think about probably 60 to 80 million will be their max. 70 to 80 million. They've submitted 2 bids, 59 million, 65 million, and yeah, they're supposedly going to put in one final bid, and Benfica need to sell. So we'll wait and see what happens. But it's a very difficult deal to do because, as we know, Benfica are notorious for holding out for the big release clauses, aren't they? They did it with Joao Felix, they did it with Enzo Fernandez, they did it with others as well. So it's not going to be an easy deal to do. But yeah, let's move on from Joao Neves and let's talk a little bit about Matthijs de Ligt, shall we? So there was a new update that dropped about Matthijs de Ligt. I think it was yesterday from Florian Plettenberg, who is, of course, the Sky Sports Germany journalist. He's very, very reliable around the Bundesliga, but we've also just had a story break literally in the last 3 minutes. So this is breaking news whilst we're live, coming out from Fabrizio Romano, and he is reporting this morning that Manchester United are now increasingly confident of signing Matthijs de Ligt, as the player has been clear with his agent. He's only giving priority to Manchester United. He says that personal terms are now almost in place. Talks ongoing between the two clubs over the deal structure, with United to offer parts in add-ons. So this deal will happen. I would go as far as saying 99%. De Ligt does not want to go anywhere else. He wants to come to Manchester United. He wants to play for Erik ten Hag again. PSG apparently tried to hijack the deal. He rejected them. He only has eyes on Manchester United. And that's what we want. We want players who have bought into the project, bought into the manager, and are coming here to effectively play. You know, they're not coming here for money because PSG will offer him more money than us. They're coming here for football reasons. And that's been a rarity at Manchester United for a long time. You know, when you look at some of our big high-profile signings, I think you can say that most of them over the last kind of decade have come for money. You know, the Di Marias, the Sanchez's, I'm sure there's loads of others I haven't thought about, Cavani's, whoever else, right? There are so many players who've joined Manchester United purely for financial gains, whereas I genuinely think Matthijs de Ligt has looked at Manchester United, can see that he will start every game. Him and Martinez will be the first choice centre-backs, without a shadow of a doubt. And then if Maguire and Lindelof stay, they'll be the backups. Obviously, Varane's gone. He was the other first choice. So Matthijs de Ligt is looking at this from a pure footballing perspective. He knows he'll start pretty much every single game, and he knows that Erik ten Hag believes in him and got the best out of him whilst he was at Ajax. So I'm really, really excited about this deal. I think we'll probably get a here we go, I reckon, in the next kind of 24 to 48 hours. Obviously, the Euros hasn't helped things. The Netherlands' participation is slowing down all of these deals. The same with Joshua Zirkzee, who we'll talk about in a minute. But this is really, really positive that Fabrizio Romano has brought this story to us today, saying that Manchester United are now talking with Bayern Munich over the structure of the deal. Because for the last week or so, the story's always been that the player wants to come, he's agreed terms, but United haven't submitted a bid. Now, the deal is apparently going to be worth 50 million euros. That's what I've been told, including add-ons. 50 million euros is about 42 million pounds. So my understanding is that it will be 35 million pounds up front with add-ons of around 7 million pounds. So I've got no issues with this. I think it's a really, really good bit of business. If De Ligt works at Manchester United for 35 million, it's an absolute bargain. Obviously, we'll have to wait and see how he does, but I've got massive faith in him. We've got over 650 people watching the video live now, which is absolutely amazing. If everyone could do me a small favour and smash a like, I've set a likes target of 600 on today's video. So if everybody who's watching the video right now hits the like button, we will hit that target. And if this is your first time watching, please do subscribe. We're 2 subscribers away from 26,400. So make sure you go and subscribe if you haven't already. It's completely free content. It doesn't cost you any money. So please go and do that right now. I'll come back to the comment section in a couple of minutes as well. So get your questions in, get your super chats in, do all your things, and I will read out some in a little bit. Okay, so we've spoke about De Ligt. This deal will happen. It's just a matter of when, not if. Let's move over to Ruud van Nistelrooy. So this is really exciting. I love Ruud van Nistelrooy. He was one of my favourite strikers when I was growing up watching Manchester United. I love the guy. He's done really well at PSV as well. Let's remember, we're not just signing him because of the nostalgia, because he played for Manchester United. We're signing him because he is regarded as one of the best young up-and-coming managers. Obviously, what he did at PSV was very, very impressive. But the headline this morning, coming out from a very, very reliable Dutch newspaper, is that apparently Ruud van Nistelrooy has now travelled to Manchester to sign his new 2-year contract with Manchester United. So, obviously, we know that Erik ten Hag has signed a 2-year contract. Ruud van Nistelrooy will also be signing a new 2-year contract. He's apparently arrived in Manchester. And my understanding is that this deal will be announced tomorrow by Manchester United. So we should get the pictures of him on the website and all the rest of it. All the players are back in training tomorrow. So from tomorrow onwards, they'll be back in training. Greenwood will be back in training. Sancho will be back in training. Lots and lots of players are going to be back in training tomorrow, because you got to remember, quite a lot of our players didn't go to the Euros. Wan-Bissaka, Maguire. I don't think Lindelof did he? Lindelof, Onana. Most of our team will be back in training tomorrow. Obviously, there's a couple of exceptions. Like Bruno Fernandes won't be there because he's only just finished the Euros. I assume he'll go off on holiday for a bit. Obviously, Mainu won't be. Luke Shaw won't be. Pellistri won't be. Who else? I can't think who else. Martinez won't be. But most of the team will be back in training tomorrow. Like, obviously, Rashford will be there. I assume Højlund and Eriksen will be there, etc. So, yeah, that's really, really positive that, Ruud van Nistelrooy will be part of this new coaching setup at Manchester United. I think he's going to come into that team and demand authority, if that makes sense, and demand, not being funny, but Mitchell van der Gaag, do you really think the other players at Manchester United listen and are inspired by him? I'm not trying to be harsh, but I don't really think that the players at Man United are inspired by Mitchell van der Gaag, and maybe not even Steve McLaren, and maybe not even Benny McCarthy. Whereas it's impossible not to look at Ruud van Nistelrooy and be inspired and be motivated and want to listen to him. So yeah, I'm really, really excited about Ruud van Nistelrooy. I think it's a really, really clever appointment. I think Ineos are giving Erik ten Hag all of the tools now to succeed. And if Erik ten Hag doesn't now succeed, there's no way that he can complain, to be honest. He's getting all of the staff he wants in. He's got his new contract. He's got his, his 2-year deal. Or not, he's had his contract extended. He hasn't got a new contract, but he's got all of the tools in place now to succeed. He's got a director of football. He's got a CEO. He's got a head of recruitment. He's got a technical director. So all eyes are going to be on Erik ten Hag now, to be honest. And I think a lot of people who are backing Erik ten Hag are going to be a bit more critical going forward, which I think is fair. I think it's completely fair that we look at Erik ten Hag in a different light now, because he has got every single thing he wants. He still has the transfer veto. He's got all of his new assistants. We're most likely going to see probably 5 or 6 players signing this summer. Players are leaving. This is the year for Erik ten Hag to kick on. And I've got a question that I wanted to ask you that I had written down. What are your expectations for Manchester United this season? I'm going to do a poll in a minute. The results of the last poll, 70% of people watching the video are happy with £420,000 for Donny van de Beek, and 30% of you are not happy. So thank you for that. And the question's going to be this. It's going to be, what are your expectations? So what are your minimum expectations for this season? Let's do this. 1 times trophy plus top 4. 1 times trophy plus... Give me 1 second, guys. I'm just setting up the poll. No times trophy. Okay. So anybody watching back on repeat, you can let me know in the comment section. What are your minimum expectations for the next up and coming season? Anybody watching live, obviously you can get involved in the poll. My minimum expectation is that we win the Europa League and we finish in the top 6. That's my minimum. And the reason for this is, if you win the Europa League, you get Champions League football anyway. So finishing in the top 4, obviously I'd like to finish in the top 4, but you know, if you win the Europa League, you get top 4. Does that make sense? So that's my absolute minimum. We have to win the Europa League. We're the best team in the Europa League. The thing you have to remember as well is the teams don't drop down from the Champions League anymore. They've changed the format of the European competition. So no longer do teams who finish 3rd in the Champions League. Is that right? I think it's 3rd teams used to drop down, didn't they? That doesn't happen anymore. So we won't have any of the Champions League teams falling into the Europa League. There's no reason why we can't win the Europa League. The other best team in the Europa League is Tottenham. Like, let that sink in for a minute. You won't get a Barcelona. There won't be a Napoli. The hardest team that we'd have to play to win the Champions League is Tottenham. Like, we have to win the Europa League. Tottenham haven't won a trophy in like 20 years or something. So, yeah, top 6 and Europa League is a minimum for me. If we get top 4, great. Happy days. I don't think we're going to win the Premier League. I think that's unrealistic. I would say that next season, so not this coming season, the season after, I would say, you know, we should be challenging for the Premier League, I think. Whether that's realistic or not, I don't know. But in Erik ten Hag's 4th season, you would expect him to be challenging. That's what Arteta did in his 4th season. He started challenging. Yeah. Let's see what else people are saying in the chat quickly. Yeah, keep getting involved in the poll if you haven't already. Let me know what your expectations are for the up and coming season. And if you haven't already, guys, make sure you like. We've got 750 people in the room today, which is absolutely incredible. And we're still only one subscriber away from 26,400. So if this is your first time watching, please do go and subscribe. It's completely free content. Doesn't cost any money. And make sure you like the video as well. Okay, cool. Let's move on to Joshua Zirkzee. So in relation to Zirkzee, the headline this morning is that apparently Manchester United have now spoken to Bologna and have told them that they are set to trigger the 40 million euros release clause. It says that apparently Zirkzee's focus is currently on the Euros, causing a delay in any decision, but his agent is now in direct talks with Manchester United. He says, I understand that the commissions spoken of are around 10 million euros. Milan have apparently refused to pay this commission. So Manchester United have a clear opportunity to sign Joshua Zirkzee here. Milan won't pay the commission. 10 million euros is about £8.5 million. So the total deal would be 34 million to Bologna and 8.5 million to the agent, which I still think is a bit disgusting, but that's just the way football is nowadays. We have to pay these release clauses. Sorry, we have to pay these commissions. Otherwise, we don't get the players. So, yeah, let me know what you guys think about that. Are you happy about that amount of money? Do you think it's a good deal? Obviously, he played for about 10 minutes yesterday for the Netherlands. It wasn't really enough time for me to, really judge him, but he's very tall. He's very strong. I know he's had some comparisons with Zlatan Ibrahimovic, kind of on playing style and physique and stuff. But yeah, I think it'll be a good signing. And I think, if we can get De Ligt and Zirkzee over the line next week, that'll be decent. The last game of the Euros is a week today. So 1 week today, there won't be any more talk about the Euros. There won't be any more, players are waiting to find out what's going to happen. It will be over, the same as the Copa America. I think the final's a week today. So yeah, hopefully we get the here we go for De Ligt and Zirkzee in the week, and then the deals become official kind of next week, if that makes sense. Obviously, England play on Wednesday against Netherlands. obviously I'm English. I hope England beat the Netherlands, and then I hope that means we can sign De Ligt and Zirkzee sooner, because that seems to be the thing holding things up, which I still don't really understand. I still don't really understand, to be honest, why they're not willing to agree a deal whilst they're in the Euros. Like, it doesn't really make any sense. Paulinho has agreed a deal to Bayern Munich, and he was playing for Portugal. Obviously, Portugal have been knocked out now, but we got the here we go for Paulinho like a week ago, whilst he was starting every week for Portugal. Whereas De Ligt and Zirkzee have probably played like 10 minutes between them in 5 games at the Euros. So that's the bit I don't really understand, but obviously you have to respect the player's decision. Maybe they're saying, you know, I want to wait until after. I don't know. It seems strange to me, but that's just how it is sometimes. So yeah, hopefully this deal gets done in the next couple of days. Let's see what else people are saying in the chat. Ryan says, are you expecting to see a new style of play immediately? I don't know about immediately, mate. It depends on who we bring in. It depends on signings. It depends on, like, if we start the season with the same team as what we had last season, then it's probably going to be the same, isn't it? So it's very difficult to kind of judge what the style of play is going to be like until I know who's been signed. Like, if we sign De Ligt, Manuel Ugarte, Zirkzee, a new left back, then yeah, I'm expecting us to go into next season with a brand new style of play, you know? But at the moment, it's hard to say. We haven't signed anyone yet. For all we know, we might only sign De Ligt and Zirkzee, you know? I don't think that will happen, but it obviously is a possibility. So, in short, I would like to revisit that question when we get a little bit closer to the end of the transfer window, you know? Because at the moment, I don't really know what to expect. Lise says, maybe it's a rule in the Dutch team, Kieran. Yeah, that's what I've been told by somebody, that apparently Ronald Koeman has said that players in the Dutch camp can't be agreeing deals or talking about outside things whilst they're in camp. It's a very, like, old-fashioned type thing, isn't it? That they've got, like, a closed camp and all the rest of it. But you have to respect it, innit? Like, it's the biggest honour for players to play for their national team. And De Ligt and Zirkzee aren't going to want to piss off, sorry to swear, but they're not going to want to annoy Ronald Koeman, are they, effectively? And you have to respect that. Like, you do. Mr. Bean says, what's happening with Branthwaite? In relation to Branthwaite, apparently Manchester United are still interested in the player. They want to sign 2 centre-backs this summer. The reason for that is it will allow them to then move on Lindelof. It will allow them to then move on Maguire, and it will potentially allow them to loan out Willy Campoala. There is an understanding that Willy Campoala needs game time. I think he definitely has potential. I don't think he's ready to be starting every game for Man United at this point. So the best thing for Willy Campoala's development would be a loan, maybe to another Premier League club. And in an ideal situation, you'd probably sell Maguire and or Lindelof, which would then mean you need 2 new centre-backs. So Manchester United still do want Branthwaite, but the issue is the amount of money Everton are asking for. They still want £70 million. Man United are not willing to pay that. Branthwaite's not willing to hand in a transfer request. So it's a game of cat and mouse, really. It's a game of who blinks first. And at the moment, Everton are not blinking. They're saying you either pay the money or you don't get the player. So Manchester United find themselves in a very, very difficult position here. But yeah, we'll wait and see what happens with that one. I think the Branthwaite deal could still progress, but I think Manchester United will probably be focusing on De Ligt, Zirkzee, Manuel Ugarte, etc., etc. Like, that will be the focus for the time being, because those players are easily achievable. Whereas Branthwaite is a negotiation. Everton don't want to sell. It's always going to be complicated in those situations. So, yeah, there's no massive update on Branthwaite now, other than Manchester United is still interested. They're still wanting to sign the player. It's just a matter of if they can get it over the line, which I think will be difficult personally. Somebody says, what's going on with Lenny Yoro? Lenny Yoro is not coming to Manchester United. That's pretty much been confirmed. He's negotiating with Real Madrid. He only wants to go to Real Madrid. So Lenny Yoro to United will not happen. He dreams of playing for Real Madrid. So you can't really stop players. You know, if Real Madrid want Lenny Yoro and Lenny Yoro wants Real Madrid, why would he come to Manchester United? Like, it's just not going to happen. People talking about Osimhen in the chat. Yeah, there is a little bit of an update on Victor Osimhen. So this was reported yesterday by various different Italian outlets, saying that apparently Osimhen will be available this summer for a cut price deal. He's got a release clause of £110 million, which is obviously ridiculous. He's not worth that. He only scored 15 goals in the Serie A last season, which is, let's be honest, 15 goals in the Serie A is not worth £110 million. I'm sorry. It just simply isn't. Apparently, Napoli would be willing to accept an offer of around £80 million. I think that's probably more realistic, being completely honest. 110, stupid. You're never going to get that. But yeah, £80 million. He's got 2 years left of his contract. So if Napoli are going to sell him, they need to do it this summer, really, because otherwise next year, with 1 year left of his contract, his price is going to come down even further. He scored 15 goals in 25 games in the Serie A last season, which, as I said, for £110 million, I don't think that's a particularly good deal for anybody. Whereas if you compare that with, say, Joshua Zirkzee, who's available for about £34 million, he scored 11 goals, Joshua Zirkzee. He scored 4 goals less, and his release clause is about a third of what Victor Osimhen's is. I would like to see Victor Osimhen at Manchester United. It's just whether we can get the money together. Chelsea are the club leading the race for Osimhen at the moment. He will be on big wages, which is another thing to kind of not worry about, but it's another consideration. He's going to want mega money if he's going to move to Manchester United or Chelsea or wherever. He's on about 200k a week at Napoli at the moment, but apparently he wants in excess, so meaning more than £300,000 a week. So it doesn't help our wage bill. It probably doesn't help the development of Rasmus Højlund. So I think Manchester United probably will leave the Victor Osimhen deal. But yeah, we'll wait and see what happens. You never know in football. Maybe Ineos want to make one big statement signing. We'll have to wait and see. It's very, very difficult to see. Milas says he scored less goals than Rasmus Højlund did. Yeah, it's a fair point. I hadn't thought about it like that, but yeah, he did. Let's see what else we're saying. Nathan says, I think we'll sell Maguire and Victor Lindelof. Yeah, I think we will as well. Somebody says, could you see us signing 2 centre-backs and playing Martinez as a CDM? I don't think so, mate, to be honest. Obviously, Amrabat's available, isn't he, for a cut price deal? Apparently, Amrabat's available for 12 million this summer. So I don't really know why you'd put Martinez as a CDM if you could just go and get Amrabat for 12 million. Like, that doesn't really make much sense to me, but you never know with Manchester United, do you? Right, I'm going to wrap the video up here, guys. It's been a very, very good show this morning. Thank you so much to everyone who has joined me today. There will be a show at 1:30, a lunchtime show, and then there'll be a show this evening as well. Please make sure you smash a like before you go, guys. It doesn't cost any money. It's completely free. So yeah, please like, please subscribe. This has been Daily Red Devil, and I'll speak to you all a little bit later. Bye for now.